You can survive first-year engineering just as you can survive in my game entitled The First-Year Engineering Survivor. This game is designed for you who struggles on keeping your GPA high because this game will make you realize that persistence is what will make you succeed in engineering. This game is based on the classical hangman game, but the setup and the words used will be surely familiar to the first-year engineering students at the University of Alberta. The game mechanics is simple. You just have to correctly guess 7 words with a GPA greater than 1.9 and be a first-year engineering survivor. Here is a brief timeline on how my game became possible. I felt so incompetent for this contest when I first joined, but as I learned more about MATLAB by reading the textbook and attending lectures, doing this program became more exciting and enjoyable. Here are the MATLAB features that I use, and I will explain in depth on how I use them. Now, if I wanted to make a hangman style game, I should have a container full of words and be able to get a word that the user will guess. So I first created a function that will return a variable for that container and fill it up with words. In MATLAB terms, this container is a vector in which elements are structures of same fields. When I run this, I could get a word by specifying the structure number and the field I'm interested in. Knowing this, I made use of the randi function and string concatenation in making a function that will get a random word from my structure. After that, I created the GUI of the game using the guide function. For its first version, I focused on how I can put the letters of my current word to the white boxes using the start button and make them appear once correct letter buttons are pressed. In the guide-generated script, I first made the handles invisible with white-colored string, and used selection statements to make boxes appear depending on the word chosen. Meanwhile, I programmed the letter buttons so they will show the letters they represent if it is in the current word. Now let's compare the first version to the future versions. The next versions focused on setting up the goal of the game. As mentioned in the beginning, 7 words must be guessed with GPA greater than 1.9. To set this goal, I created a finish button where letter counters count A to count Z have been made. All values of these counters will correspond to the number of each letter present in the word once correct buttons have been pressed. I also made the GPA counter and completed word counter with initial values 4 and 0 respectively. If wrong letter buttons are pressed, the GPA counter value will be deducted. On the other hand, completed words counter will increment by 1 every time a word is successfully guessed. Going back to the finish button callback, these counters mentioned will determine whether to proceed or not. Withdraw button was also created to be able to exit the game without finishing. I also made the main menu with the play button, how to play button, and the credits button. There are also GUIs for losing and winning, and both GUIs have the same options of either restarting or exiting the game. I largely used object-oriented programming in my script. All the boxes and push buttons you see in my GUI are objects, and you can reference them in the script using what we call their object handles. Just like a coffee in a mug, object handles store objects and they have properties that you can modify. For example, by double-clicking the Start button in the GUI, you can see all its properties. In my script, I modified the string of its handle using the set function with the following format. That's about it. Thank you for watching.